President Obama is rolling through the Midwest this week on a three-state campaign-style swing in a brand-new, sleek black armored bus.
As I was driving down those little towns in my big bus, and we slowed down, and I'm standing in the front, and I'm waving.
This bad boy cost $1.1 million. That's $2.2 million for both coaches.
This year, presidential campaigns will each cost $2 billion. Last time around, they cost $1 billion. You don't get that kind of money in tens and twenties from regular middle-class Americans. So we virtually have made our politicians hostage, to this lobbying system. I think people are outraged when they understand it. I mean, U.S. Tax Uncut was an organization that just sprung up all across the country in the last year and a half, powered by regular middle-class Americans who were really upset at the fact that they're paying more taxes every year than General Electric. The effective U.S. corporate tax rate is still 35%, but nobody pays that. The average effective tax rate paid by U.S. companies in 2010 was 12%, which is substantially less than 35%. And a lot of these big companies have arranged their affairs, as I've just said. 30 of the Fortune 500 companies didn't pay any taxes in the last 3 years. This has become a tax race. It's an arms race, really, between all the major developed countries in the world are cutting taxes for the top corporations and the elite. And it's not because it makes economic sense, it's because they have the political influence.
But it is like a mystery to people. How is it, since every person has got a vote, that the rich are able to make out like bandits through the tax system? How do they do it, since we all vote, and why aren't we voting to increase taxes on them? And the answer is that the influence of the wealthy on our political process is just pervasive. It influences every aspect of the system. They, in effect, control the public opinion formation process through their control of the media, through their control of think tanks, and so on. They control political parties through their donations. Basically, they control virtually every process through which public policies are made in the country.
There's often the kind of implicit threat from companies that if they don't get tax breaks, they're going to move somewhere else. And that can have a big influence on the political process as well. So, companies will sort of fund think tanks that make the arguments for corporate tax cuts and engage in that sort of battle of ideas. But then there's also, more on the ground politics of saying, well, we'll move this plant if we don't get concessions from our workers or concessions from governments in the form of tax cuts. Rather than investing money and hiring workers or building new capital, we see companies hoarding record amounts of cash.